Over the last few weeks, we watched Marvel do everything in their power to desperately try to save the Marvels as the box office projections continued to crater. Not only are the mainstream media now admitting that this thing's going to bomb with a $60 million opening weekend projection, but other places, it's gotten even worse. Box Office Pro, which has been on top of this thing, which pulls from multiple different sources, their prediction is now $35 to $49 million opening weekend. Not only would that be a disaster for the MCU, but it would be the worst opening weekend they've seen all time. But maybe, just maybe, after the big premiere last night, some positive reviews out there, the mainstream media putting a little spin on it, maybe that'll save it. Maybe that'll do exactly what they needed to do. Maybe it'll get great reviews. Well, despite these type of headlines from the mainstream media, the Marvel's first reaction praised short and sweet, astonishingly wacky movie, exactly what a comic book movie should be. Despite headlines like that, the reality is a little bit different. Despite multiple media outlets gushing about the Marvel's first reactions, critic review scores are extremely rotten. In fact, when it first came out with about 41 reviews, it was sitting at a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is one of the worst critically reviewed things they've ever had, which, who knows, right? Sometimes when you look at critics' stuff, sometimes critics will hate something and audiences will love it. But in this case, when it comes to the MCU, when it comes to Marvel, the only thing the critics have hated when it comes to this franchise are things that are just so overtly, miserably bad that they can't help but give it a bad score, at least a middling score. Otherwise, they get crucified by a fan base. And as we look right now, it's moved up a little bit to 58%. And in fact, when you go to top critics, it's all the way down there at 43%. I would imagine it'll fluctuate a little bit. You see a lot of these people that got invited to this event that are saying the same exact thing about it while posting their reactions, desperately hoping they probably get invited to the next Marvel screening, while some other people who just can't help but be honest about this thing. It's getting roasted right now by a lot of different people. The reviews are mixed. That's the best way to describe it. Compared to what we saw for, I don't know, Captain Marvel back in 2019, where the critics and audiences, they had a little bit of a difference of opinion, didn't they? And in fact, this is the thing that broke Rotten Tomatoes permanently when it came to the audience score so they could try to protect this movie. But the fact that they held this review embargo for so long, only one day, that's all people have to make your mind up about this movie is one single day. And they can pretend like it was to try to protect the post-credits. They don't give a shit about that. They want people to know what's in the post-credit scene. They want people to know those spoilers in an attempt to entice them to go see this movie. But it doesn't seem like it's working. As I stated, what were bad box office projections have just continued to get worse. And I would challenge everybody to go check the theaters around you. It's all anecdotal evidence, right? I can pull up the nearest theater to me, and it might be nearly empty. You can pull up the nearest theater to you, and it might be full. It might be sold out. Who knows? It's a very anecdotal thing to look at. But I challenge everybody to just go look at it and see what it looks like in your neck of the woods, in your neighborhood. Because right now, not just here domestically, but also internationally, it looks miserable for the box office. This is Luis Fernando. Wednesday, so today's the day of truth for the Marvels, when it starts its global rollout at the box office and reviews will finally be unveiled. Industry is pessimistic, lowering the final projections for Captain Marvel sequel to between $50 and $60 million 3-day and a $70 to $80 million 5-day overseas, which could be an all-time low for the MCU franchise in several markets. All around the world, people are seeing the same trend. People are just, frankly, not interested in going to see this movie. And now when it comes out that even the critics, even some people that have been shilling for Marvel, that have been continuing to push the MCU, make excuses for the MCU, and a lot of them just, frankly, did not like this movie despite doing their best to defend it. I've seen a lot of YouTube channels out there. I'm not going to sit there and call them out or anything, but people who are known for being extremely positive, always looking to the bright side of things, people that try their best to love everything, whether it's because they want to get invited to something or whether it's because they just genuinely like being positive people. I don't have a problem with that. But even they have been forced to admit that this is one of the worst MCU movies that they've ever seen. It might be the worst of the worst. That's what a lot of people are saying right now, that, well, I like this actor, I like this actress, and I like this little part of it, but in reality, I can't escape that this is probably the worst MCU movie I've ever watched. The Marvels is an absolute nightmare, and it might just continue to get worse. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.